Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Enlightened Heart Soul Connection. I'm Naoma. This is your reading for today. Today is full of joy, synchronicity, and deep inner codes. In fact, when I pulled out the energy oracle cards, I just kind of like did a shuffle through and let the cards fall where they may. And I got downloaded again with another number code. So I've been having synchronicities all week. The synchronicities have been insane. They started with 2s and 5s and 7s and 3s, and then the ascension codes started coming out with the 1s and then more 7s, and it's been crazy. So I just knew when 444 hit the table in the upright that this was going to be a fun reading. And I instantly knew that I was going to have to talk about these number sequences. The last reading that I did was it started with 333 in that sigil at the beginning of the reading. You might want to go back if number synchronicities interest you. You might want to go back and watch that reading. I'm trying to get my life together this morning so that I could actually do this recording for you guys, because I woke up at 3 o'clock this morning, but it's not unusual for me. I couldn't go back to sleep. And then I saw 444 and 555. It's now 6:30. So since about 5:55, and at 5:55 this morning, the battery on my phone was at 77%. I knew I had to do a reading. That's why I pulled out the energy oracle. I wasn't expecting 444 to hit the table again. I'm not just watching the numbers. I'm actually speaking the language of the numbers right now. I'm not even feeling like I even sent these numbers to me, because I started to get binary code yesterday. And it's almost like I feel like sometimes I'm Neo in the Matrix. Like, being able to see the code and everything is very bizarre. And that's, just since yesterday. This week has been crazy, but yesterday I definitely got that download and felt it because I started to get binary. So I wanted to tie this into yesterday also being the 6-6 gate. I don't think too many people even recognize these dates. They really don't. I don't think they recognize them. Not like they do the August 8th, 8-8 Lionsgate, or the 11-11 portal in November. Like every single calendar month has portals that we're in and out of throughout every month, throughout the year. The Lionsgate, I don't even think is the most significant, but it definitely is the one that sparks a lot of awakenings. So yesterday was 6-6. It's a pretty major threshold. 6-6 ties back to the 3, and it's, like right on the cusp of Cancer season, and it's all heart-based harmony. And I saw that yesterday with the flow of the numbers. It was very, very harmonic. Anyway, we move into July with the 7-7, the Sirius gateway. Sirius being the star Sirius. That's a DNA and a spiritual awakening. Lionsgate, the divine will, soul power. The September completion, ending karmic patterns. 1010, nobody talks about that one. That's duality integration. That's also endings and new beginnings in a big way because the numbers doubled. 1111, it's the mirror. It's the soul code. It's more binary. It's collective awakening. I had my very, very first my very first, my very first awakening happened on 11/11/11. And then many of you know from 11/7 to 11/11 of 2020, I went through another really big awakening. 12/12 is the master gate. That's where we embody wisdom. So we have all year long to bounce through the zodiac and these portals in every month. The zeros being the 0 point field, right? The void, the liminal space, the everything and nothing at the same time. A lot of people associate 0 with source. But honestly, in order to get to the 0 point of a black hole, you have to pass through the singularity. And the singularity is where time stops. Time's no longer relevant. Time becomes multidimensional in the singularity. Or it's perceived that way. So in my musings this week, in my downloads that I've been getting, when we're talking about physics, you have to pass through the singularity in order to get to the 0 point. We talk about the 0 point more in quantum physics. And I was having all these synchronicities and numerology come to me all week long, and I recognized the 0 being the 0 point, but I wasn't understanding it the way that we talk about it, as 0 being source, 0 being the singularity, and that's incorrect. You have to pass through the singularity to get to the 0 point. What comes after source? The 0 point is the space of limitless potential. It's the creator space where everything and nothing exist at the same time. It's the Fool card. It's the unlimited potential. But it's more than that. So when you're looking at numerology, you think about 0 that way, as the 0 point field. But then you move to 1. Well, we used to define 1 as the self. Now I'm saying that 1 is the singularity. It's the I am. It's the moment of becoming, of choosing form. That's the source consciousness created within creation. All right, let's look and see what we've got on the table here from the Energy Oracle. So the first card to hit the table is number 44. Number 44. That is woman holding a heart. This was the card that made me choose the tarot deck that we're going to use today. Now, I'm not going to edit this video. I'm not going to throw pictures in. I don't have time for that in my life today. I have too much going on. I want to get my house clean because then me and my daughter and my grandmother are going to go for some spa treatment and we're all going to go get our nails done. So, Um, oh, and that's very appropriate for this card, Woman Holding a Heart, Self-Love. 44, it's the foundation. Anyway, I knew I had to pull out the Mystical Moments Tarot for this reading today because there's a very flowery, pinky, like mystical vibe almost to the cards. So 44, it's foundation doubled. 4 plus 4 is 8. When you've got a solid foundation, you make room for abundance. It's something that you can build upon. All right, next card, number 4. There it is, the 444. That's the happy family card. There's a mom and a dad and 2 kids, and it's a boy and a girl, and there's a rainbow. Rainbow frequency, emotional and energetic foundation. And right now, as I'm looking at these 2 cards together, and I'm thinking about woman holding a heart, isn't it true that the divine feminine really does hold the family together? She's the voice of wisdom, the voice of reason. She is the teacher and the nurturer. And we're talking about our foundations. All right, so the next card to come out was the 4th chakra and Archangel Raphael. And I'm looking at this card now, and I'm actually seeing a dragon wing, and that's making me think about my shadow. This is number 38. 38 is 11. 1, 1. The singularity doubled. Soul reset. Spiritual repairing. Ooh, 4th chakra. That's the heart chakra. So we're healing the core heart wounds and anchoring in love. All right, and then the last card to land on the table, number 27. It's a 9 card, walking away. The collective's making the choice to exit past cycles. This is a call for new alignment. New alignment, Archangel Raphael, 11. While I was working on my notes for this reading, before I even flipped the cards that were on the table to see what they were, I was already thinking about 555. And I was like, damn, I really need to talk about all of these singularities, all the synchronicities that I've been experiencing all week long. And I flipped over the energy oracle, and at the bottom of the deck, number 47, the thinking woman. because I've been thinking about these codes all week long, because they've just been flying at me left and right. It's been crazy. This has been a wonderful week, actually. It's been a very good week. A thinking woman, it's the awakened divine feminine as witness and teacher. She doesn't rush through every gate. She feels which one is hers. You're being guided to discern and not perform. And there we are again with performance. There's something about we need to remove our masks and quit trying to put on a show for everybody. And I'm talking to everyone on the spiritual path. Stop trying to put on a show for everybody. Seriously, there's a reason why Jesus only had 12 disciples. And this came up yesterday for myself. Jesus had 12 disciples. He didn't have 8 million. Those 12 people that he spoke to were like Jesus was the pebble in the pond. And those 12 disciples were the first ripples that ripple out everywhere else. He didn't spread far and wide because he put on a fucking show. That came later when the control systems were put in. All right, so we understand that this morning's reading is about the divine feminine. So I'll make sure we need to put that in the title. But this is the divine feminine walking into, like, I'm looking at the walking away card, and there's a gate here, and then I'm looking also at the thinking woman card, and there's also a gate, talks about gates. The thinking woman made up her mind to walk through the gate that she's walking through in the walking away card. This makes me think that the Divine Feminine Collective has made the choice to walk away from their shadow, because I'm looking at the dragon wing in the Archangel Raphael card. There's an angel wing and a dragon wing, and I always think of my shadow as the dragon, and I often allow her to come out and play. Mostly the dragon is allowed to speak when I'm at work, like when I need to get shit done and I need to integrate my shadow because I am falling out of a cycle of self-inflicted trauma. That's a message for somebody, but I'm coming out of this cycle of validation seeking and people pleasing, and so I've had to get firmer. But I've had to, and now I'm seeing an eagle in the image. Eagles remind me of freedom and taking a higher perspective. Walking away with compassion. Maybe we're walking away from our trauma. Hold, please. All right, so this reading is centered around the divine feminine's sovereignty. She's no longer passive or confused, and she's made the clear decision to move forward. It's a soul-led decision to walk toward truth and wholeness. Not a reactive departure. Soul-led decision. And she's walking with grace, not bitterness. I am hearing a song. Here's to the heartache. Here's to the mistake. All the years, the tears that led to this place. We'll have to look that song up. I'll look that song up at the end. Here's to the heartache. That's the name of the song. So there's a choice point here. In the moment where the Divine Feminine Collective is saying, I choose me. we're seeing the timeline in between thought and action now being completed. And then I said about the angel wing and the dragon wing. The angel being the higher self, the dragon being the shadow. The shadow's been a useful companion. Especially for me at work, in action and asserting boundaries for myself. So the Archangel Raphael heart chakra card, it's symbolizing for us right now the integration of shadow with compassion, not rejection. It's the healing of self-inflicted trauma loops. People-pleasing, validation-seeking, self-doubt. The divine feminine no longer afraid to let the dragon rest. And then I saw the eagle, and that was right before I said to hold on. So breaking down the symbology of the eagle, now I see it as freedom in a higher perspective. You know, the eagle soars not to escape. It soars higher and higher so that it can see more. The higher it goes, the further out the visual range. So the feminine is walking away with compassion from a higher vantage point. You guys are seeing from a higher angle. And you're not doing it with bitterness. You're doing it with clarity. So we're walking away from our trauma, not pretending that it never happened, but because we alchemized it. Let the dragon rest so the eagle can rise. All right, so I continued to shuffle the cards while I was talking. Let me hit it one more time, and then we'll see what the cards have to say, because I'm excited. I'm so excited that this deck wanted to come out today. We've got the Page of Cups as the first card out. Ooh-wee. All right. The Two of Wands, the Ten of Cups. At the bottom of the deck is the Six of Cups. So there's a layer of inner child work going on here. All right, full list of cards. Here we go. The Empress, the Page of Cups, the Two of Wands, the Ten of Cups, the Four of Pentacles, and the Four of Wands. Four of Wands, that's the 1111 card. That's also a gate. And the Four of Pentacles in this card also has a gate in it. Let's talk about this. The Empress. These cards are gorgeous. They're like, they've got this Renaissance-y, mystical feel to them. This Empress, she's very pregnant. She's holding a crown over the baby's head. The baby's visible in her womb. The skirt that she's wearing is a flower blooming. Oh, and the vintage roses. I love these cards. She's no longer becoming. She just is. This is definitely the confirmation that the divine feminine's wholeness is ready to birth new timelines. The Page of Cups. We talked about the inner child. This is a message from your inner child. Your soul is offering you love. Softness is returning. It's 7 o'clock. Softness is returning. Emotional vulnerability. Fresh creative stirrings. That's what this card represents. The feminine's allowing herself to dream again, not in fantasy, but in trust. The 0. You know, this also makes me think that the divine feminine is also the creator. Not only are you the voice of wisdom and intuition and the spiritual leader, but you're the creator. You possess the womb. You are what is birthing a new generation of souls into form on this planet. And it's your job to teach them. This is interesting. It's your job as the divine feminine to teach the souls that you are bringing into this lower density, onto this earth, to teach them that they too are creator beings, that they too are divine and sovereign. And then this 2 of Wands, this is your moment of vision and choice. 2s are about choice. But it's vision as well. She's holding the world and she's looking at the moon. And every time I see this card, I think, when you wish upon a star. Sorry, I was just writing some notes down about that song I channeled earlier. Yeah, so this 2 of Wands, this is the divine feminine seeing beyond her current environment and choosing to expand. The 2 of Wands, that's the, making the plans to go out and venture into the world. Walking through the gate was only the beginning when you chose to walk away. 10 of Cups is ultimate emotional fulfillment, soul family, joyful completion. It's what you're walking toward. We've got the happy family card already out here. So I feel like it's just confirming. And walking away wasn't a loss. It was just making room for the happy family for the 10 of Cups. And then we've got the 4 of Pentacles. Traditionally, this card's about holding back. Normally, we see it, as clutching onto a purse or a satchel tight to the chest. Guarding our manifestations, guarding them, because those are our manifestations. They're not to be other people's manifestations. But in this card, it's a gate, so we're looking at a threshold. This is discerning what's truly valuable. This may also hint about protecting your peace during this transition. Alright, and then the 4 of Wands. The 11:11 gate, right? This is a sacred portal, a celebration, union, homecoming, and marriage, reunion. there really is a strong message about getting into alignment with your soul path and your inner union when I look at this card, because they're like silhouettes at the path and they're walking down, but they're also standing at oh my god, they're standing on a roof dancing. And I'm thinking about the opening scene from Fiddler on the Roof. Matchmaker, matchmaker, make me a match. Oh my god. All right, so on the bottom of the deck, we've got the Six of Cups. Our inner child is healing, okay? The silly nonsense right there with the matchmaker. All that silly nonsense, all right? Our inner child is healing. This card is about nostalgia and soul roots. Everything that you're doing, the walking away toward the happy family, not wearing your heart on your sleeve anymore, but holding it out in the open, and now it's guarded with armor. All of that is with your inner child in mind. You're no longer leaving her behind. You're integrating her. The integration of the feminine inner child. All of this silliness. Why? I think about my dad when I think about that opening line from Fiddler on the Roof. Because we used to watch musicals together. I think I mentioned that before. I don't know. You guys need to get silly. Like, living authentically, yes, that means speaking your truth. That means unabashedly being yourself. Don't be ashamed of who you are. If you have these silly realizations coming into your head and you need to voice it out in the open, do it. I mean, there's been times where I've been at work and we're having a serious conversation, and all of a sudden, I have a visualization pop into my head of like, okay, for example, my boss said something about we're not going to let our coworkers get cut out from below the knee. And I all of a sudden started to visualize somebody walking around on their kneecaps because they didn't have any leg from the knee to the foot. And they were walking on their kneecaps, like, oh my God. And it made me start laughing. And it was a very serious meeting, but I had to get it out. Okay. It's okay. It's okay to be authentic. We need to integrate all versions of ourselves. Past, present, future, like the silly, the serious, it all needs to be integrated. Look, guys, the fact of the matter is that you're not just walking away from whatever you need to be walking away from. You're walking into your role as the creator. You're not walking away from any sort of bullshit, because you're already holding a heart and you're already in a happy family, but you've been thinking deeply. This is a heart chakra moment where you're walking away from all your trauma that has caused self-sabotage for you in the past. You've now made space so that you can start creating from your heart. You're a bridge for souls entering into this density. And part of your mission is to teach these kids and your soul family as you're integrating your feminine inner child. And now I'm speaking to everybody in this case. I feel like this message specifically is for a divine feminine out there, but when you're integrating the feminine inner child, stillness isn't a flaw, it's medicine. That scene from Fiddler on the Roof that I brought up, you know, matchmaker, matchmaker, bring me a match. It symbolizes expectation, tradition, and the old paradigms of feminine worth. That movie is about a Jewish family and not arranged marriages, but, you know, these girls are getting too old to not be married. Old paradigms, feminine worth. And now you're dancing on the rooftop in defiance, and because you're being defiant, you're joyful. The wild woman. Inner child integration through joy and rebellion. Oh, man. This is your medicine. This is your medicine, you guys. Where else should we go from here, I wonder? I am going to pull a card from the Priestess of Light. Okay, I'm going to pull one card right now because as I split the deck, I see duality. Duality. It says many meanings, misunderstanding. She's wearing red, the scarlet. That reminds me of Mother Mary, because she, in the Gnostic text, when she went to go visit her cousin Elizabeth, she was weaving a scarlet crimson was the color, and purple, I want to say it was like a blanket or a shawl or something. Okay, let's look up. I just looked up the crimson and scarlet. I just looked up the colors. So, scarlet evokes passion, bloodline, and misjudgment. It's often used to signify the fallen woman or misunderstood feminine force, but in sacred text, it carries power, chosen blood, and creative life force. And because I was specifically thinking about the Gnostic texts, the color, it's a frequency. Purple is royalty, intuition, initiation, and higher realms. Crimson is the blood womb, the power of earthly creation, and purple, the crown light. True duality of the divine feminine, flesh and spirit, womb and world, misunderstood and anointed. She's not divided. She embodies the split so others can remember wholeness. The Scarlet Woman was never wicked. She was just ahead of her time. One more card. We've got number 51 with grateful optimism. It says joyous view of the future. I feel like that's appropriate to stop. The closing note of this reading blessing over the path ahead. This card speaks about lightness returning after the walk away. You're not walking into uncertainty. You're walking into promise, a future built from authentic joy, soul alignment, and the innocence of knowing you're held. It's not about denying what was heavy, but it's giving thanks for the load you're no longer carrying, because you've recognized that life happens for you, not to you. That every bad thing in your life is not bad. You are like beginning to you're beginning to master your perception here. You're walking away from the old paradigm. You're walking away from the misunderstandings with the acknowledgement that this and that are true. Not everybody is good or bad. They're both. You are becoming the paradox. 444. The foundation that you're building upon now is that which the inner child is allowed to come out and play with your shadow. But you're not doing it from trauma anymore, because you've integrated your trauma. You walked over that threshold, and now you're just walking in joy and remembrance and belonging. And this has been a beautiful reading, and I'm very thankful that I've been able to do it for you. This next leg of the journey we get to share together, because it doesn't matter what the future looks like. We're no longer carrying that burden of worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. We've walked away from that, and now we're just flowing. 155 on my timer. I wonder what that means. 1 being the source, the creator, and 5 being change, and 55 extreme chaotic change. No, out of chaos comes order. 55 is 10. Revolution, rebellion, sacred destruction, disruption. The creator, okay, here's your message for 155, and then we're going to close. The creator has shifted the story. You're writing from a brand new frequency now. I am the paradox. I carry wisdom in one hand and wonder in the other. I am the child and the ancient one. I walk away not in anger, but in truth. I play beside my shadow. I build with joy. I flow with faith. I belong to this moment, and this moment belongs to me. I love you, collective. Have a wonderful day, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.